They came to Anfield promising the world a brand new stadium, no debt, endless transfer funds. But within 3 years, Liverpool were drowning in loans, the board was at war, and fans were marching in the streets to save their club. This is the story of Tom Hicks and George Gillett, and how two American owners almost crippled Liverpool Football Club. Welcome back to the channel. This is Football Edge. If you love the drama and money behind the game, you've come to the right place. And hey, we've just cruised past 1,000 subscribers and honestly, couldn't have done it without you. A massive thanks to every single one of you who's watched, commented, and especially to the Scousers who have been a huge part of that number. Your encouragement and suggestions mean a lot, and I'm doing my best to make sure every voice feels heard in the comments. And for those of you new here, we're building a proper community of football lovers. So if that sounds like your thing, hit subscribe and join the family. Now, back to today's business. Dubai International Capital had been circling Liverpool for months, but when their bid collapsed, the door opened for two American tycoons, Tom Hicks and George Gillett. By February 2nd, their offer was on the table, £435 million for full ownership. That included £215 million ring-fenced for a brand new stadium on Stanley Park. Club chairman David Moores and chief executive Rick Parry didn't hesitate. They unanimously recommended the deal. Just 4 days later, on February 6th, the takeover was confirmed. Liverpool was valued at £218.9 million, with debts of £44.8 million attached. At their first press conference, George Gillett went big. "The spade has to be in the ground within 60 days, he promised. A bold pledge that fans hoped would finally deliver the modern stadium Liverpool had been crying out for. On the pitch, Rafa Benítez's side was still among Europe's elite. In May 2007, they reached another Champions League final, narrowly losing to AC Milan. But afterwards, Tom Hicks made headlines of his own. Asked about transfer backing, he famously said, "If Rafa wanted to buy Snoogie Doogie, we would back him." And in the summer that followed, they put money where their mouth was. Liverpool broke their transfer record for Fernando Torres.
I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder.
Brought in Ryan Babel and Yossi Benayoun, and Anfield buzzed with optimism. The Americans had delivered on their first promise: serious spending. Liverpool's honeymoon with Hicks and Gillett didn't last long. By November 2007, tensions between the owners and Rafa Benítez boiled over. Rafa wanted reinforcements for the January transfer window. The Americans, however, told him to concentrate on training and coaching the players he already has. The Spaniard didn't take that lightly. At his next press conference, he repeated that phrase over and over in response to every single question. A subtle protest, but one that left no doubt about the frost between manager and board. Liverpool's form, once promising early in the season, began to wobble. Then came the bombshell. On January 14, 2008, Tom Hicks admitted Liverpool had secretly approached Jurgen Klinsmann, the former Germany manager. The plan was to line him up as a replacement just in case Rafa jumped ship to Real Madrid. Hicks tried to soften the revelation, calling it an insurance policy. But for Liverpool fans, it was nothing less than betrayal. Fans staged their first organised protest at Anfield, leading to the formation of the Spirit of Shankly Group. April 2008 revealed just how toxic the Boardroom had become. Hicks and Gillett were barely on speaking terms. Also, it came out that chief executive Rick Parry had been present during the secret Klinsmann meeting. Hicks publicly turned on Parry. The following season, the tension with Rafa Benítez reached a breaking point. After the sale of Robbie Keane, Benítez was denied funds for reinforcements and refused to sign a new contract until he had clarity on the club's leadership. That summer, Christian Perslow was appointed managing director on what was a rescue mission in all but name, to find £100 million in fresh investment. On the pitch, the squad took a hit as Javi Alonso and Alvaro Arbeloa departed. And despite the arrivals of Glenn Johnson and Alberto Aquilani, Rafa was once again told the purse strings were tight. By September 2009, even the owners themselves were openly clashing with the fans. At a meeting with the Spirit of Shankly Supporters Union, George Gillett dismissed concerns about Liverpool's finances, even claiming the club's position was healthier than Manchester United's. And he also flat-out denied ever promising that construction of a new stadium would begin within 60 days of his arrival. For many Liverpool fans, that was the final straw. The broken promises were now being rewritten as if they'd never been made. By the turn of 2010, the chaos around Anfield was spilling out in public. In January, Tom Hicks Jr., son of the co-owner and board member himself, replied to a supporter's email with a foul-mouthed rant. The backlash was immediate. Within days, Hicks Jr. was forced to resign, and the board was reshaped with commercial director Ian Iyer and financial director Philip Nash. 2 months later, there seemed a glimmer of salvation. A New York private equity firm, the Roan Group, tabled a £110 million bid for 40% of Liverpool. It wasn't a full takeover, but it would have eased the pressure of looming debts. Yet, in classic Hicks and Gillett fashion, the Americans let the deadline pass without responding. Another opportunity wasted. By April 2010, even they couldn't deny the situation was unsustainable. The pair brought in Martin Broughton, then chairman of British Airways, to oversee a formal sale. Their statement tried to put a positive spin on things, calling their 3 years at Anfield a rewarding and exciting experience. But now, nobody was buying it. The Scousers wanted them gone. The summer only deepened the circus. In May, rumours swelled again that Dubai International Capital were close to sealing a £500 million takeover, a full-circle twist after they'd missed out in 2007. But once more, the stories came to nothing. Then came the strange wave of would-be saviors. In August, Chinese businessman Kenny Huang and Syrian investor Yahya Kirdi emerged as potential buyers, but like so many before them, their bids amounted to nothing. One full storm after another, Liverpool were being passed around like a prize no one could quite afford to claim. By September 2010, Tom Hicks was running out of road. Liverpool owed the Royal Bank of Scotland £237 million, and repayment was due by October 15th. If he couldn't refinance, he'd have to give up control. Hicks scrambled for a lifeline. Reports surfaced on September 19th that he'd struck a £280 million refinancing deal with private equity giants Blackstone. But the rumour sparked a furious backlash from supporters. Within 24 hours, Blackstone publicly distanced themselves, leaving Hicks stranded. With just days left before RBS could hit the club with a £60 million penalty, news broke on October 5th Liverpool's board had agreed terms with New England Sports Ventures, NESV, for a £300 million takeover. But Hicks and Gillett weren't going quietly. They tried to sack chairman Martin Broughton, managing director Christian Perslow, and commercial director Ian Iyer, replacing them with loyalists, including Hicks's own son, Mac. But the board fought back. On October 6th, Broughton issued a statement confirming the NESV deal had been agreed, though legal challenges from the Americans loomed. RBS stepped in. As Liverpool's main creditor, they secured an injunction to block Hicks and Gillett from reshaping the board. The case went before the Royal Courts of Justice in London on October 12th. A day later, Justice Floyd delivered the verdict. Hicks and Gillett had no right to interfere. The path was clear for a sale. The saga took one final twist. While John Henry was in London, Hicks and Gillett secured a temporary restraining order from a Texas court to block the sale. The move was quickly branded outrageous, and within 24 hours, a British judge ruled it unlawful, noting the case had nothing to do with Texas. By October 15th, Hicks' empty threats of a $1 billion lawsuit rang hollow. At 4 p.m. that Friday, the deal was complete. NESV bought Liverpool for £300 million. The Americans who had promised stadiums, star signings, and no debt were gone. John Henry, owner of the Boston Red Sox, was now the new custodian of Anfield. Liverpool Football Club had survived, but only just. In the end, Hicks and Gillett not only failed to deliver their promises, they almost dragged Liverpool to the brink. The scars of that era still shape how many supporters view FSG today, and it stands as one of football's clearest lessons. Bad owners can cripple even the biggest clubs. Over to you now. Was this the darkest chapter of Liverpool's modern history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. hit subscribe, and share this with a fellow football fan who needs to see it. I'll catch you on the next one.